Well, all right, you guys, welcome back to the channel for this pre-Eggnogurination show 2025, which of course will happen in just a few hours on what is shaping up to be the coldest day of this winter 2024-25. Coldest day to date. It's 7 degrees here in North Arkansas, by far the coldest day so far of 2024-2025 winter. Now, if you're new to the channel, I don't say eggnog urination to disrespect our country. I say it to call out the irony and hypocrisy of how free thought and free speech has basically gone extinct. And it forces those of us with a voice to have to come up with these clever, stupid third grade names under threat of a social media platform that essentially will not let your channel go to any new people to hear what you have to say in the greatest free speech country in the world, we're told. Now, everybody chime in the chat. Let us know how cold it is where you live. Just put like the state and how many degrees it is, just to confirm to anybody watching that this is in fact the coldest day of the year so far, that just so happened to land on Eggnog Urination Day. And of course, this day will go down in history as the day that the penguin took the crown. You know, there was a TV series that just came out called The Penguin, and he was the only one who could unite all of the gangs of New York or Gotham. What is Trump doing right now? Well, he's united the world. The first time in history, world leaders are attending the eggnog urination. Now, what did the penguin do? Well, the possible scenario is that he would deliver more frozen smack over the nations with his syringe umbrella stored in deep freeze, at least according to Bill Gates, who spoke with Trump to develop more smack over the nations at warp speed for AIDS and polio. I mean, how much AIDS and polio is there still left in the world? And why did it take a 3-hour discussion to talk about that? To discuss diseases that are all but extinct. There's something else going on here. And what authority does Bill Gates even have to be even discussing these things? He has no degrees in disease and spamdemics. Now, we will be back on tomorrow to discuss anything relevant about the Eggnog the Nation, so that you can watch it today independently, so you can just watch it through and see what you pick up on, and then we'll talk about all of that tomorrow. However, today is the pre-show, so let me remind you, Trump was the 13th president. His first term was the 13th president after the pyramid, an all-seeing eye, was put on the dollar bill. And there are 13 steps on that pyramid on the dollar bill. I wonder if they were talking about him. I wonder. You guys, it feels like we're entering into another portal, doesn't it? Now, let's get into this show today. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I tried to delay the show a little bit because I know it's going to be a long day for most of you. You're going to be watching the Eggnog Nation. You're going to be watching channels and what they say about it. I do hope you come back here because we were right about most of this stuff. And to understand what's going to happen next, we need to stay on track. Now, of course, just as I said yesterday, literally an hour to 2 hours after the show, I told you Trump would save TikTok, and he in fact has saved TikTok. This will be the new popular app. Why? Because everything Trump touches turns to gold. He is getting all kinds of new supporters in women A lot of women on TikTok who have carved out an existence and income for themselves on TikTok. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying this guy is good. He knows exactly what he's doing. So women are now going to back Trump more than ever before. I mean, he already had the female vote, but this seals the deal because he saved TikTok, an app that he said he hated before and thought it was garbage. Well, now he's done a complete 180-degree turn. This will be the new popular app, the data collection for the police state. It'll be the eyes and ears because that's what TikTok does. You guys, to show you how creepy our phone apps are. Now, I'm not telling you to go erase all your phone apps. Look, the system's already here. It's already done. It's already over. We've already been brainwashed to the point. Look, myself included, I have apps on my phone. It's convenience, right? So I have my banking app. They were really smart about how they did this, weren't they? And in order to use the apps, you have to give away your permissions, right? For the sake of convenience. I know there are some hardliners out there that don't have any apps on their phone. And look, hats off to you if you can do that. I admire that dedication. But essentially, they've already convinced people to give up their privacy. And TikTok will be the next level. Now, let me give you a really creepy instance just to demonstrate to you how invasive these phones are. So I was doing laundry. This happened to me yesterday. I was doing laundry. I pulled the fitted sheet out of the clothes dryer. I'm folding. I'm like, the only thing that the app would know, because my phone wasn't pointed at me, would be that they would hear the rustling of sheets and me trying to fold this fitted sheet. If anyone's ever folded a fitted sheet before, you'll know what I'm talking about. Well, guess what? I go to open my computer, and in my feed is a woman folding a fitted sheet. Now, what can I do? I wasn't talking to anyone. I didn't say, hey, let me pull this fitted sheet out of the dryer, so the mic didn't pick up on it. Literally, the sound of rustling sheets must have triggered this to go into my feed. That's creepy. That is creepy. Now, let's keep going here. This is going to be a packed show today, you guys. I'm glad you tuned in. I have a lot to cover because we have just gone through a portal. We're on the cusp of a complete reconfiguration of everything that you know. So Trump has saved TikTok. Now, as I said yesterday as well, gosh, was it yesterday or the day before? Yeah, it's Monday today. Sorry. It's MLK Day. As I said yesterday, this was the first eggnog nation in history to be attended by the Chinese. Now, notice how they've mixed in other foreign leaders, and all that is a smokescreen so that you don't go, why is China at the eggnog nation? It all gets smokescreened, right? And then people just say, oh, it's just, Trump's he's trying to include the world. That's what this is. You guys, Trump is now king of the world. All these people wouldn't have come to bow at the altar. The first clue was all the millionaires and billionaires offering $1 million toward the eggnog nation. That was our first clue. This guy has some major MAGA magician abilities, just like Marina Abramovich said. And now all these foreign leaders are showing up, and amongst them, of course, China. Now, I tried to warn people that Trump was a globalist. How did I know? Well, we did a series of videos on the globe in front of Trump International Hotel. Let's look it up. Trump International at Columbus Circle Hotel Globe. And I told you guys that Trump was a globalist. Here it is here. He actually fashioned this globe after, let's look at the images here. He fashioned it after the World's Fair globe called the Unisphere and Perisphere. There were two separate globes in two separate years, of the World's Fair. The one in 1939 and the other one, I believe, was in 1946, I believe. And he literally admitted that he fashioned this globe in front of his International Hotel Columbus Circle after those World's Fairs. One of those World's Fairs, his family billboard appeared at, the 1939 World's Fair. It said, "Trump, the homes of tomorrow." Well, we're here. We've arrived. So, Trump was always a covert globalist, and now he's shown his hand, inviting all the world leaders to the Eggnog Nation. Now, today we're going to also get into Trump's brand new cryptocurrency that is also turned to gold. Are you ready for this? Trump's meme coin doubles again, worth 58 billion. Well, of course it's worth 58 billion. Why do you say that, Casey? Well, 58. Trump won the first presidency 58 years after 1958, and he won the second presidency with it he's getting eggnog now for. He won that 66 years after 1958. Well, that's why Trump Tower is 58 and 66 stories tall. He already knew back in 1983 he was going to win two presidencies split by one president. Now you can sit down and whiteboard all that and write it out and get out your calculator, but everything that I just told you is true. Now, what else is going on with this Smurf coin? And why do I call it a Smurf coin? Well, if you look here, Trump stylized this coin with a dollar sign in front of his name, S Trump or Strump. Well, guess what? This word Strump actually means sock puppet. How do I know this? Because we already decoded this. Here it is right here. This was the original name of the Smurfs. They were called Strumps. There it is right there, highlighted in blue. We decoded this a couple years ago. And it literally means sock, or like a sock puppet. Now, we covered Trump's connection to the Smurfs going back a couple years. And the whole concept seems silly. A lot of people unsubscribed. This guy's lost his mind. Well, now we know we haven't. Let's do a quick highlight on what we covered. And sorry for the blurriness, but I wanted to get all of these Smurf videos on Trump in one frame here. Number one, the Smurfs were created in 1958. That number again. And in this particular, there was an episode, it was like a TV show. There were magic flutes and fungus. Well, what are we dealing with now? A bunch of fungus. Number two, Gargamel's name, scrambled, spells MAGA Grell. So we did a video on that. Number three, Trump Tower literally appears in one of the Smurf movies where they enter in through the fountain portal. That's how they get through. They literally come through a portal, they emerge, and right in the backdrop is Trump World Tower, or Trump Tower. And then in another scene, when Gargamel escapes from jail, he flies right over Trump World Tower. Those are two separate buildings. You can look all this up, or you can watch these videos by title if you want to get caught up on all this. Number four, we found a Smurf called Stormy, like Stormy Daniels. Number five, the god Apollo appears in one of the Smurf movies, again near a portal. We found that. And then we found that Trump Jr. calls his children Smurfs on Instagram. So, in summary, Trump is Gargamel, the MAGA magician who created the Smurfs. That's you and me, injecting everyone with the blue. The fungus is now epidemic. We live in Smurf world, just like the Smurf lore. Now let's get into some of these other stories. This is literal insanity. There's a bronze statue. Now, this wasn't Trump who created it. It's some independent guy. This is how they do it, right? They do it. It's people surrounding him. It's never him, so his hands stay clean. Well, I looked this all up, and according to this article, this bronze statue, which of course is 88% copper, it stands 15 feet tall. It's a $1 million statue, and it was created by the crypto kings. A bunch of crypto billionaires created this. They made it in Trump's honor. So Holy Spirit told me, okay, how much is 15 feet? I didn't know how much 15 feet was until I did the math. It's 180 inches, which is 60 inches plus 60 inches plus 60 inches. And it's an image of him holding up his fist when he said, fight, fight, fight. And of course, FFF is also 666. I wonder if they planned that. Now, what do we have in store for day one? We're going to go over Trump's 100 executive orders slated for today. As soon as he walks off the podium, he's calling this shock and awe. Shock and awe. Trump plans 100 immediate executive actions. We're going to go over some of those today. And I'm going to give you my opinion about this because it sounds severe, but it's actually not. It's a word salad to make you think things are getting done, but it's not the severity of what you think it is. Reinstating Title 42 on the immigration front. Trump has talked about a series of orders he would issue on day one to seal the Mexico border. Now, this Title 42 is about basically quickly expelling asylum seekers at the border. So he's going to do away with that. He's going to start mass deportations. Trump has suggested he would expand the authority of immigration agents to use the U.S. military. The expected moves have already generated pushback from Democrats. So what's up with this? Well, he's saying he's going to start in Chicago, of all places. Why not start in Texas or Arizona or California? Why Chicago? Is this a pretend shot across the bow? Is this something to further reinforce the right-left paradigm? Because, of course, Obama's from Chicago, but we know they're buddies because they were at the funeral chalking it up, right? So this is wild. What is he going to do? Send in, troops into these states? I just don't think it's going to happen. I think what's going to happen, okay, so we're going to do a mark my words. Here's what I think is going to happen. I'm not a prophet and I can't predict the future, but we've been right about 99% of the stuff we brought up, right? So here's what I think is going to happen. This is just a political move to scare everybody. But what's really going to happen is this is going to get stopped in the courts. You're going to have some liberal judge who's going to stand up and say, no, you can't do that. And then, it's going to get delayed. So we're never going to have that. And then all the illegals will just simply go into the states where they're protected by whatever orders. And this will get drug out probably through the duration of the presidency. Because in order for him to enforce this, it would mean a civil war, right? In these liberal states. Because what would happen? Well, Newsom would send the police or whoever to defend the illegals, right? Because these people aren't budging, you guys. So these are my thoughts on what's probably going to happen. We'll see if that happens in the coming days. I guess we don't have to wait long because it is upon us, right? Now, ending birthright citizenship. I actually agree with this as well, but will he be able to make it happen? Will it get stuck in the courts? I don't know. Border wall and empowering local law enforcement. I actually agree with this. Local law enforcement should be involved in enforcing the border wall. Tariffs. So, essentially, he has promised major new tariffs on imports. What this means is a lot of your product costs will go up because there's no mechanism described in here to where those savings trickle down to us, unless he was to cut us all direct check from the tariffs. Hey, if you want to raise tariffs and then those tariffs go to the government and you want to cut everybody a check, 4 times a year that help with your groceries or whatever you're purchasing, maybe that would be a good idea, but that ain't going to happen. We aren't going to get free checks based on these tariffs. It's going to go straight to the government. Now, what else is going on? TikTok. So Trump is now protecting TikTok. He saved TikTok. We already talked about that. What else? Let's keep going down here. Drill, baby, drill. I obviously agree with that as well. Now, this is interesting because Trump is saying not only is he going to drill for oil, but he's also going to eliminate the electric vehicle mandate. Now, this is a little bit of a smokescreen here because he's ending the mandate in the government. Okay? In the government, for government workers only. So, what about the electric car rebates? That's not mentioned in here. The electric car rebates are not mentioned here. Now, why are the electric car rebates so important? Well, this would crash Tesla's business, Elon Musk's business, wouldn't it? Because without the rebate, then what the rebate does is it puts electric cars at an unfair advantage over gas vehicles. It's that little, I think it's $7,500 now, dangling out there, incentivizing people to buy electric vehicles. And it's an unfair market advantage over internal combustion engines or regular gas vehicles. Okay, that's the problem with this. So yes, he's going to do away with the mandate in the government, but is this going to trickle down to the rest of the market? I guess is the main question. Ending natural gas export ban. Take action to end the Biden administration's pause on issuing new permits for projects aiming at exporting liquefied natural gas. Now, I don't know about you, but I want to keep all our natural gas. I don't want to export our natural gas. Didn't Biden just give a bunch of natural gas to he's selling it to like the Ukraine and other places? We need that because the more you export, our costs go up. I want cheap natural gas. I want natural gas at 50 cents a gallon, which is what it used to be at because it's a really good fuel and it lasts a long time. You guys, I have a 250-gallon propane tank here in my house. And I got my water heater hooked up to it and my stove. And this thing will last an entire year. Right now, it costs about $250 to fill it up. It's about $1. Actually, it's $2 a gallon for propane. So it costs about $500 to fill it up for the year. Okay, so I want the propane as cheap as possible. It's already pretty cheap, but it should be cheaper. Now, here are some trigger words here. Trump calls this transgender, and he calls it lunacy. Trump has promised first day action taking aim at rights for the people, people. I'm not sure how many times we can say that without getting flagged. But so let's see what he exactly says here. Executive order to end the procedures. I obviously agree with that. He's going to end the procedures on children and get them out of the military and public schools. I actually agree with that too. And he talked about athletes born biologically. Now understand a lot of this was done so that Trump can undo it. Okay, this is part of, because think about it, how sustainable was that? The liberal agenda and forcing, obviously an overrepresented group into our media, our schools, churches, and all this stuff. How long did we really think that was going to last? So my feeling is that this was done so that Trump can undo it and look like the hero, right? So we'll see if this actually happens. DEI in the federal government. So again, these are only things that he's signing these executive orders or will sign them in the government. But will this spill out into the rest of the states and everything? So DEI, he's doing away with that in the government only. Now, let's get down here into some of the nuts and bolts of this. In-person work for federal employees. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like he was the one that shut everybody down with the lockdowns and made everybody work from home. And if you can do the same job working from home, then you can't just make everybody go back to work, right? We should have never shut down in the first place, is what I'm trying to say. And in hindsight, it appears as though that was the right decision to never shut down in the first place. Now they can say, oh, we were following the science and we had to shut down because of the fear of it, because we didn't know, right? This is the defense I get. But I think everybody can agree, hindsight, that the shutdown didn't do anything, because if it did, it would have worked at the first 2 weeks. And after that, all bets were off. There was no huge fallout in emergency services. All the firemen and nurses and doctors didn't get sick and die, which is what everyone was afraid of, right? That all didn't happen. And now we have the post-spamdemic proof. We have historical proof in places like Africa, where there was very, very, very low uptake of the smackinations. In some instances, less than 5 or 6% of the population in some countries in Africa got the smackination. And these are countries with very low cleanliness in terms of hand washing and all these things that we're used to doing here in the United States. You know, you've got circumstances, you know, where there isn't a lot of sanitation and all these things, right? But yet, magically, there was no mass die-off from CV-19 in Africa. So we now have historical data that nobody's looking at or talking about, right? So, I don't know about this. Look, I guess, you know, going to work outside of your house, it has its benefits. It's socialization. So maybe people should go back. Now let's keep looking at this here. End funding to radical left NGOs. Now, what is an NGO? Now, I didn't understand what an NGO was until about 6 months ago. How did I find out about NGOs? They're non-government organizations. They're essentially private entities that can get money from the government to do certain things. Okay. Now, here's the problem with NGOs. They could be funded by billionaires as well. They can be funded by tax dollars as well. And they get money and then they go on these special projects. Sometimes these special projects involve helping illegals against whatever state rules and laws there are. So if a state does not give a benefit to an illegal, an NGO can come in behind and secretly give an illegal some benefits. They'll give them phones, hotel rooms. In certain instances, NGOs are the entity responsible for that. They pick up the slack where the state does not help the illegal. So this is a problem, isn't it? Because it continues to incentivize illegals to come because they know that an NGO is going to come in and help them. Now, Trump is saying he's going to defund the NGOs with federal dollars, but here's the problem. The NGOs are also financed by billionaires. Ready for this? We all know the famous billionaire who funds NGOs. That would be George Soros, right? Again, NGOs are also used to disrupt elections. We've seen that. They're used to destabilize cities. We've seen that as well, haven't we? We saw this happen with when the towns and stuff were burned down. Anytime you see someone bussing in a bunch of people, usually a billionaire NGO is behind that. So this is crazy, right? So until Trump dismantles the whole NGO concept and gets rid of the rich billionaires who are also funding the NGOs, then this isn't really going to make too big of an impact. Because look, how much does it cost to bus in a bunch of people? If a billionaire is willing to spend $1 million to do that, is it really going to matter if he doesn't get the $200,000 in from the federal funding for that as well? Of course, it's not going to matter. He'll just fill in the gaps, right? But essentially, this is undermining our democracy. If you want to talk about organizations that literally undermine and work against the democracy, that would be an NGO. So, two billionaires who have gotten actually pretty close to Trump fund some of these NGOs, Gates also, and Soros. Now, one of Trump's cabinet picks worked for the Soros hedge fund. So, Trump is now close to Soros. And, in fact, Bill Gates, who just met with Trump for 3 hours to discuss the next spamdemic, he helps fund NGOs as well with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I don't know if his foundations also enable illegals. I don't know. I couldn't find any information on that. But needless to say, this is shocking. So until the billionaires stop funding the NGOs, we're going to have more of the same, aren't we? Now, on the level of, just trying to do the right thing, it's good to defund the NGOs from our federal government. So I'm not saying that nothing was done, but the core problem is not being fixed. Now let me go back into the chat and I'll put links to all this. Next, we're going to get into the Ozempic Olympics. You guys ready for this? It's time to have a little fun. Now that we got all the business stuff out of the way. The Ozempic Olympics. Now, if you're new to the channel, our Ozempic Olympics is basically looking at any of these celebrities who have had massive weight loss from Ozempic. We call it the Ozempic Olympics, hailing from Hollywood. Jessica Simpson. Now, Jessica's rapid weight loss, according to her, has nothing to do with Ozempic, but the Ozempic judges have ruled otherwise. Jessica gets the bronze medal at the Ozempic Olympics for her convincing denial and rapid weight loss of 100 pounds, after which she dumped the only guy who didn't dump her when she gained the 100 pounds. Great job, Jessica. Bronze medal. Welcome to Clown World, you guys. This is the clown world that we have to wake up to every day. This nightmare. Wow. Let's get into some of these other stories. So, what's going on next? Well, in this nightmare that we call life, when the economy, education, and people who pay tax dollars to make sure we aren't living in a giant tinderbox fail you, but you still have a few friends that care enough to send a few dollars, oh, don't worry. They've got that covered. Don't worry about that, because if you collect any amount of money that could matter to help you rebuild your house, FEMA will just deduct that amount from your assistance. They've got you covered. Wow. So this is the world we live in now. People can't crowdfund anymore because FEMA just deducts that amount. Because that's not fair that you couldn't afford home insurance and you still get to rebuild. The rest of us have to pay home insurance just because a bunch of people decided to help you by crowdfunding. So let's read this. This is pure insanity. FEMA's message to LA wildfire victims. Carefully consider your GoFundMe appeals. So this poor lady, house burned down. She's got her baby with her. I got a lot of respect for people who held on to their properties that they own, that were handed down from families. And even though their properties doubled and tripled in value, they held on to their properties. They probably, look, I even out here in rural Arkansas, I get letters in the mail. Hey, can we buy your property? Hey, can we buy your property? Hey, can we buy your property? My property's probably doubled in value since I bought it. But I won't, because they're just going to turn it into a billionaire mansion or something. And so these poor people, now they're forced out. Remember, a lot of these people, maybe their mortgage is paid off, or they're struggling because all the insurance premiums have gone through the roof. We're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. Let's see if Trump wants to fix that, because these rising insurance premiums interrupt the housing market. And notice how it's only in certain areas. It's in the areas where people, they want people to get out. So they just simply deny you insurance coverage, which you need to mortgage a house. And if you can't get insurance, then what happens? You lose your property. So these people, they're like, let's do some crowdfunding. And sometimes people want to help, right? After the house that she grew up in burned down in the Eaton fire in Altadena, Stephen's wife, Kiri, suggested the couple visit the local library. As a librarian herself, she knew there were resources being distributed and FEMA agents available at nearby branches. The couple had heard some concerning claims on social media and wanted to sort out fact from fiction. Like hundreds of other Angelenos, Celicio had launched a GoFundMe for his in-laws, but rumors were floating around that its existence could prevent the family from receiving badly needed funds. This is a travesty, a pure travesty. All right, now it's time for the fluoride rant. Ready for this? What happened when a town removed fluoride from its water? Let's refresh this page and watch this video and try not to spit out your coffee because you're going to laugh. We're going to give this the newscast overview, Mystery Science Theater treatment. Let's play this video here. Now, remember, Bobby Kennedy Jr. is saying that he's going to get rid of fluoride inside of the water supply. But make no mistake, CBS News to the rescue. They're trying to give you cavities. Let's watch this, you guys. Wow. This is shocking. Okay, let's play this. Come on.
On Thursday, the Senate will hold a confirmation hearing for Robert F. Kennedy Jr., President-elect Trump's pick to run the Department of Health and Human Services. His nomination has raised alarms among health officials, with Kennedy expressing skepticism of vaccines and vowing that the incoming administration will advise all U.S. water systems to stop adding fluoride to their water supplies. Some cities have already made the move, voting to remove fluoride from their drinking water. Our CBS News Confirmed team visited one of those communities in Oregon. Lana Zach has the story.
Before water enters your home, it typically comes from a local water source, one like this, the Sal Santiam, which flows into Lebanon, Oregon's water treatment facility.
We pump water from this tank here to the distribution system is what carries water to the houses.
Here, water goes through multiple steps of purification.
This is the fluoride room here at the City of Lebanon. As you can see all of the caution signs. We use a fluorosilicic acid at a dose of 0.7 milligrams per liter. So we have to wear protective clothing. You don't want this stuff on your skin.
But recently,
because it'll poison you.
The fluoride in Lebanon was stopped after a nearby reservoir drawdown mandated by the Army Corps of Engineers increased the muddiness or turbidity of the water. Public interest in the water supply spiked.
We had some color issues and stuff like that with the quality of the raw water.
One resident, Lindsay Pearson, began reading up on something unrelated to the turbidity of the water, fluoride.
I am a healthcare worker. I am a nurse. I'm also a mom, and I'm educated here in America.
This lady's a hero. She's a hero. There's no greater courage than standing against the current raging around you. These are the true heroes. She probably lost all her friends and family and still stood up for the right thing.
Read articles and peer-reviewed information, and I can understand when there is a risk.
For some in the community, like Pearson, fluoride seemed like an example of government overreach. So she rallied neighbors on conservative-aligned social media channels, and they spread their message at a local donut shop.
We ended up getting in touch with one of the lawyers that was actually involved with Fluoride Action Network. He gave us different documents about neurotoxicity and different things related to our cause. And so that's kind of where the ball got rolling.
Armed with a fluoride data sheet, they pointed at studies that seemed to counter the mainstream consensus on water fluoridation.
Fluoride toothpaste.
And as the debate spread, organizations like the American Dental Association weighed in. The ADA says fluoride, which has been in use for more than 75 years, prevents at least 25% of tooth decay in children and is safe at the level of 0.7 milligrams per liter, which is the amount that Lebanon had been using. The debate went all the way up to the city council, which was also divided.
Every time somebody would send something to the council for us to have as information, it looked like sales brochures.
The town voted, and by less than a 4-point difference, the people of Lebanon voted to remove their fluoride.
Now watch what happens next. This part's probably going to anger you, but let's keep watching. Because we've been told that elections have narrower margins than 4%. So they make this look like, only 4% margin. This is a big deal.
I'm a firm believer in giving people their own voice and their own choice in how they focus on their health. Personally, I don't think there's a safe level for any kind of a toxic chemical in my water.
But that view was not fully shared by everyone. Sean Ettinger, a former Navy engineer, voted to keep the fluoride in the water.
If you trust the government, the consensus is clear. If you run in other circles that don't trust the government, that don't trust the CDC, then obviously they're going to throw all that data and science out the window.
If you run in other circles. Wow.
We put the question to dentists. Some didn't want to be interviewed because of the divisiveness of the issue, but Dr. Highfam, an ADA member dentist and Oregon State representative, says he can see clearly the difference in his patients' teeth.
Okay, so remember, this guy's a dentist. He's supposed to only make comments about things with scientific data, right? You can't just say something that you're noticing unless there's a study done on it. But listen to what he says next.
I believe in it. It's a safe thing to use.
Another town he works in, Hillsborough, isn't fully fluoridated.
Is there anything that is hurting? So in my Hillsborough office, I do see a higher number of patients that do have cavities. When they do have the cavities are a lot bigger. It's more severe.
And as the debate...
So I just see bigger cavities in that there county over there. Are you serious? Now understand, these dentists have a lot of money invested in their education. My son Max, his friend that he went to grammar school with, is now in dental school, and it's up there like at $250,000 for that education. And he hasn't even made a dime yet. Now, many of these dentists go to open up practices and they'll make that money back in a year or 2 years. But what is the incentive, right, for this guy to tell the truth? This is calling into question his entire career. I can remember back when I was a child and they put that pink reddish stuff in my mouth. That was a fluoride treatment. Now, I have not used not a lot of fluoride since. Recently none, but the majority of my life, everybody uses the toothpaste, right? And then you get that exposure. But I have not been back to a dentist to get those fluoride treatments in 30 years, 40 years. And so why is it that I have no cavities? So this guy's full of it. Let's keep listening here.
Over water fluoridation spreads to other communities, more towns will have to choose.
Every city's just going to have to decide on their own. Vote your conscience with it. And I would hope that it goes to the people.
At the end of the day, I think people who are anti-fluoride aren't bad people. I just think that a lot of times they've been misinformed on information.
For CBS Saturday Morning, I'm Lana Zach.
Now listen to what this lady says next. Now this is so insincere, and this is why they are calling this the legacy media, because listen to what she says next. They always throw in this little thing at the end of these stories to make you feel like you're the marginal one, you're the crazy one.
It is an interesting choice for people because obviously it's in toothpaste, it's out there. I mean, you heard both sides there.
Right,
it's a decision that some people are going to have to make.
I don't know about you, but I noticed a difference when I started drinking bottled water over regular tap water, and I switched back to making sure I got regular tap water involved because
She wants us to believe that she mixes tap water into her bottled water so she can get fluoride. Are you kidding me?
cavities are not something that's pleasant.
They
but
don't end in childhood.
Yes, they don't. But I would be more concerned about lead than necessarily fluoride.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Just minimize everyone's concerns. Lie straight to your face. Oh, yeah, I mix tap water in my bottled water. Yeah. So I get that little dose of fluoride. Unbelievable. Now, this is why it's so important, the alternative media, channels like this, to stay online, because otherwise you're going to get more and more of what we just saw. Brainwashing people, guilting people, making you feel like the stupid one because you're not an authority. So I appreciate everyone that supports this channel. You guys make this channel, and so thank you. Okay, I'm back in the chat here. Yeah, I mix a little bit of tap water in my bottled water. Yeah, right. I like to see that. I'd like to see that. Now, we'll be back tomorrow with the post-Eggnogurination video decoding what we saw. We already know Snoop Dogg's going to be there. So we're going to do that. Oh, my gosh. This is going to be insane, you guys. A few hours away. So where is everybody going to watch it? Where are you going to go to watch it? I mean, you could just pull up YouTube. A lot of people are going to be covering it. I'll just try to screen capture. I'll have my screen capture on, ready to capture anything that looks suspicious. And then I'll try to put together like a montage for tomorrow's show. So I'm going to be busy today. So yeah, I think the guy was misinformed about those mutton chop sideburns. That's a good one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, wouldn't that be crazy if a bunch of drones showed up over the Eggnogurination? That would be like letting the cat out of the bag, because everyone's in denial. They think Trump had nothing to do with the night drones. Absolutely nothing. That was Biden. Casey, why are you picking on Trump already? It's Biden. And then like 2 weeks later, Palantir's like, yeah, we're going to be doing a bunch of drones. Got a new drone startup. So somebody think paid actor. Yeah, they didn't seem pretty convincing, did they? The opposing view didn't. They just seemed very robotic. So many of you are not watching it. Oh, that'll be interesting. Yeah. He's going to wait for my decode, huh? It's going to be a gush fest. I can already tell you, if all the world leaders showed up, it's going to be a gush fest. You're going to have Snoop Dogg. I'm Snoop D-O-double-G, and we're going to see if we can elect the president. I'm sure he's going to like make some new wrap up for Trump. I don't know what's going to happen. All bets are off, you guys. All bets are off. It's going to be a literal yard sale. So, talked to a Canadian yesterday. He said Trump will fix everything. Yes, so many people are convinced Trump's going to fix it all because everything he touches turns to gold. Because it's 187 on the undercover cop. Wow. YMCA guaranteed. Yeah, we'll probably have that soundtrack, which is so weird on its face because everybody knows what YMCA is. So, globalism has arrived. Now, don't get triggered. You know, look, we all knew this was going to happen. If you've been following this channel, you all knew. So we've had 5 years, 6 years to prepare. So it's not the end of the world. It's just our life's going to change. Okay. But that's good because it means we're in the end times. We're firmly in the end times, you guys. If you haven't seen the biblical prophecy manifesting all around you, it's time to start noticing it and understand what's going on. Because any day now, they're going to claim peace and security. Once they have the drone network up and all the supercomputers and the data centers to manage everything, and they've got all our health in a big, database mainframe, then someone will make the claim that we have now total peace and security. All of the wars in the world will magically end, but that means the end is here. and it'll just be over. Oh, Melania has a Bitcoin now. Wow. Thanks, Just a Girl, for that intel. Of course they do. Now, Melania, we had exposed that. She was running her crypto. It was called Melania's Eyes, and it was literally a picture of her eyes. And it was like an NFT trading card or something. She was running her crypto on her Twitter account while Trump was condemning crypto. This was back in, I want to say, 2019, 2020, maybe 2021. And now he's, of course, done a complete about face. And we called that out. We're like, how can the first lady be into crypto and Trump's not? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, thanks for that intel. Yeah, don't feel anxious. Everything's going to be fine. Batcoin, says Julia. Sipping on gin and juice. Wow. Now remember, Snoop Dogg just did a video pretending to asininate Trump in the video. That was like less than a decade ago. There were no apologies, nothing. They just expect everybody to forget that all that happened. And now he's at the Eggnog Nation. It just shows you it's all an act. They're all playing their roles. They're told what to sing about. They're told what to say and how to feel. It's all a big show. Because if it wasn't a show, Trump would be like, hey, man, you're not coming to my Eggnog Nation. You did a video of me getting blasted. So no thanks. And then Snoop would have been like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Trump. DOGG is sorry that he had to do something like that. But, you know, the controllers, they just be, you know, they be controlling me and stuff. And now I'm on board because you saw I did the Olympics. I did the Olympics because I'm back on board now, Mr. Trump. And then Trump would have said, okay, Snoop has apologized, so we're not going to have him. But none of that happened. It's just we're supposed to skip from, a fake asinine nation to all of a sudden he's at the end. It's unbelievable. I don't know what to say about this, you guys. It's insanity. Welcome to Clown World. So we'll be keeping a close eye on this and pulling out all the spiritual aspects to all this. Look. Okay, you ready for this? Okay, I'm not going to say mark my words on this, but I believe Trump will come out with his own weed now. He's going to come out with his own cannabis line. He's going to call it T-Rump. And then Snoop Dogg's going to be his, he's going to market it for him. Y'all got to try this. This is the T-Rump weed. This stuff will get you high. I mean, really? Yeah, they're going to call it MAGA weed. I think so. Yeah, Joe Potter. He'll put the, Trump name on it. And he'll make millions of dollars, billions, because everybody will want to smoke what Trump's smoking, right? It's insane. It's literal insanity. All right, guys, I'm going to pop off of here. It's going to be a long day, and I got to get ready for this Eggnog the Nation. So, anything else you guys want to talk about? DOGG. Oh, you guys are funny. Make weed great again. MAGA. Make weed great again. It'll smell like skunk. That's good. You guys are funny. Yeah, it'll get you so high you'll never have to get high again. All you got to do is vote one more time and you'll never have to vote again. It's permanent. Stoned. You're stoned permanently from that point is what the claim will be. I guess we'll see. Wouldn't that be a trip if that actually really happened? Because you have to ask yourself, look, I don't make these guesses wildly, because think about it. Why else would you have Snoop Dogg at the Eggnoguration? Because it's like a segue, right? He's segueing into a different market. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Orange. That's good. Orange Kush. I like that. All right. I should, what do you call it? Copyright that name because, oh, you guys are funny. Yeah. Idiocracy is literally happening right now before our eyes, you guys, before our eyes. And it's the whole world now because they're all showing up to this. The whole world is basically idiocracy now. Okay, I'm going to get off here now. We're having too much fun. Love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Much love.